You want to make sure to get in shape by summer. So 2 out of 3 people in the USA are overweight. Meaning, if you exercise every day, even if it's just light exercise, you end up in the top 30% of the whole country in terms of fitness. That's it. That's how easy it is to be the exception, to be noticed among the crowds, to be that guy in the summer with a fit body that everybody envies. But you still give up. You get the gym membership, the supplements, the shoes, and then give up next month. And you say it's because you are depressed, and you have a bad back, or you don't have the time. But that's really not it. What you have is the same issue as everybody else. You make starting hard. You focus on advanced stuff, you rely on stuff that does not work, like motivation, manifesting, or criticizing yourself, to the point that you just give up. You sabotage yourself by not adapting your life to exercise, to the point that it makes more sense to give up. So I'll give you one example. Who's more likely to keep exercising? Bill, who has specific shoes to run, needs his music, his pre-workout, has a shower routine with 6 products, and needs gloves and a belt to train. He has to pack all of this every time he wants to exercise. Or John, who wears a trash bag and walks around with a stick of deodorants. Which one of the two is going to be more buff by summer? It's John, of course. And you know guys like John at your gym. Look at their arms. Proof speaks by itself. So to put this into a graph, your discomfort levels are swinging to white. It's harder to walk from here to there instead of here to there, right? So the conclusion is that if you want to make sure you get a great body this year, if you want to be fit this year, you want to keep your discomfort levels around here, so you become more inclined to exercise. And this is even more true if you are depressed. If you are depressed, think of this graph a little bit tilted. That's the reason why things are harder for you to do. And this is what you need to master in order to get out of depressive episodes. It isn't empathy, support, or some gadget. You need to learn to adjust your discomfort levels, which provoke the neurotrophic response in your brain that stimulates neuron growth and allows you to change your behavior against anxiety and depression. If you are depressed, this is what you need in order to solve depression. Exercise is a big part of this equation. But another way we can look at this graph is happiness and misery. The people closest to happiness are always the ones who accept the most amount of discomfort. They're happy because they are the ones that have the most amount of cards in their deck. That's what makes them feel safe, free, and confident. And that's what allows them to be able to have a more positive outlook on life. But here's the thing. Your brain is adapting constantly, meaning you don't get used to being uncomfortable just because you did a difficult thing once. You need to apply constant direction to stay in that position, in order for you to want to do the necessary things to be happy. But don't worry, we don't need to be discussing like John. So here's 3 ways to make you exercise regularly and become happy. Before we start, my name is Shen and I help people with their depression. I help them rebuild their lives in a way that's functional and permanent. I have a free book on how to beat depression. Just click on the link in the description. And like and subscribe if you want to solve your life. It's not easy, but it's simple. Also, share this with someone who needs it, because depression is a learned behavior. So there might be more depressed people around you. You are not alone. Now back to the video. If you can't exercise regularly, just walk. It's okay. Walks are pretty amazing. Because since you keep moving, the environment keeps changing, and that forces your brain to adapt. So if you are anxious, unmotivated, unfocused, and depressed, walking resets your dopamine receptors, making things not feel so boring or difficult anymore. And it's easy enough that you can't come up with the excuses not to do it. This is one of the things I highly recommend for overall happiness. Do it every day, bring a friend, you won't regret it. I walk every day myself with the podcast, and I can do it for the whole day. It's amazing. But you don't have that much time, of course. So what's the magic number that makes walking effective on the body? The answer is 3 miles or 40 minutes every day. Do that and you will see results on your body with the least amount of effort. You literally can't be lazier than this. The second tip to make sure that you keep exercising is squats. If something comes up and you don't have time to go to the gym, then do squats. It's the one thing that you never want to miss out on, because whether it's walking, sitting, or crouching down, it's all the same movement. Squats reinforce that area. If you want to move lighter, solve back pain, then do squats. You can't really go wrong with this. Another reason why you want to do squats is because it affects large groups of muscles, meaning it helps you pump large amounts of blood, becoming a great substitute for cardio. And this is a good way to lose weight. If the goal is to lose weight, then what you want to do is to make sure that your metabolism is accelerated throughout the day, burning calories for the most amount of time. So rather than training hard once, raising your metabolism multiple times a day is more effective. And squats are an easy and quick way to do that. No need for space, equipment, or people to help you. Just make sure you do it slowly. No cheating. And the last one is yoga. One fact that you might not know is that yoga works wonders with PTSD and anxiety. And to understand why it works, you have to look at why humans thrive in nature. So the one thing that differentiates us from all other animals is that we are able to predict what will happen based on information from our environment. That's what made humans conquer the animal world. Despite being limited physically in every sense, we can't run like horses, we can't smell like dogs, and we can't be as strong as tigers. But we still manage to survive through prediction. And that is what your brain is. It's a machine that's constantly absorbing information and predicting futures. And anxiety is when that ability goes haywire, until you lose the ability to differentiate between what's gonna happen from what might happen. Until the body freezes itself, because there's no point in moving if Godzilla is coming. And yoga is made up of movements that you will never do in normal life. Meaning, it takes processing power away from your brain. It restores balance between your body and brain. It makes you come back to the present, to reality. And it solves one of the biggest reasons why you aren't going to the gym. If you are out of shape, you are probably ashamed of how you look and you compare yourself a lot to others, making each time you go to the gym a pretty stressful experience, making you give up. But the truth is, most people don't really care about you. Everyone is sweaty and tired, and most people just want to go home faster. But of course, convincing your body is way harder. And that's what yoga is for. It helps control your emotions. It helps you refocus on the stuff that matters, that actually moves you forward, not backwards. So, as you have seen, exercise isn't just about being healthy. It's also about happiness and mental health. Because if you can't move, then the futures you predict also become limited, leading into the panic attacks you have. And I know how that feels. And if they're always limited, then it becomes pretty difficult to be hopeful and be willing to try. But the only way you become happy is by trying. So stop wishing for someone to come and solve your life because they won't come. So this video isn't just about making you fit by summer, but also about what do you do in those days when you don't feel like it? When that thing happened and it broke your heart? When you had another depressive episode and you are stuck in bed? How do you get out of those moments? And the answer is, you keep moving. You keep giving yourself reasons to believe that it's possible. Because at the end of the day, words are just words. Sounds in the air, they affect nothing, but actions do. Because they tell an undeniable story of someone who makes an effort, someone who's constantly moving towards their goals. So subscribe, because that's the direction we are going to. I'll see you next week. And if you still can't stop from sabotaging yourself, then go watch my other video on how transformation happens in your brain.